We want to make you feel what it was like to be a slave or what it was like to escape through the Underground Railroad. These are the words from Bob Weiss, one of Disney's vice presidents of theme parks, at a press conference in the mid-90s. And as you can imagine, words he will quickly regret. Weiss and his colleagues at Disney were looking to offer families and kids who grew to love Disney's theme parks adventures with a new attraction that would showcase the honest history of America called Disney's America. You see, according to Walt Disney, the man behind the Disney empire, Disney's venture into amusement parks was sparked while he was at an amusement park with his young daughters. And from his retelling of the story, this amusement park at the time only focused on the kids having fun, and he thought to himself, what if something existed where both parents and children can enjoy it together? Hence, Disneyland is born.
Well, it came about when my daughters were very young, and Saturday was always Daddy's Day with the two daughters. Take them to the merry-go-round, and I took them different places. And as I'd sit there while they rode the merry-go-round, did all these things, I felt that there should be something built, some kind of an amusement enterprise built where that the parents and the children could have fun together.
Now, Walt's dream would become a success, as Disney would launch several theme parks across the United States, and totaling 12 theme parks today across the globe. Now, if everything would have gone as planned back in 1993, the total would be 13 theme parks today. So what happened? Back in 1993, Disney's team would envision an idea for a theme park that would help encompass the history of America for a price point of $650 million, which is over $1 billion today. Then CEO Mike Eisner would go on to share that the idea to create Disney's America came after a visit to Colonial Williamsburg, which is a living history museum in Williamsburg, Virginia. A few years later, they would find over 130 acres of land in Haymarket, Virginia to build this new attraction just 35 miles from the nation's capital of D.C. Disney's America was set to have hotels, a golf course, 9 different areas, retail shops, and housing while educating their guests on the past of America. Things were starting off good as they received early support from politicians and the local government. As you know today, America continues to struggle with how honest they want to keep things about its history, as we've seen things like critical race theory take to the forefront of social debates. So the new amusement parks controversy was very clear. Eisner would go on to say, "We are going to be sensitive, but we will not be showing the absolute propaganda of the country." He would even promise the park would include painful, disturbing, and agonizing exhibits about slavery and Native Americans. Yes, slavery. For some reason, they thought reliving elements of slavery can be molded into family fun. Now, as crazy as this is starting to sound, many years before Disney's America, there was an actual amusement park that fully committed to the idea of a slave amusement park. With 500 black workers playing as slave and other roles Black Americans took on in America. The theme park was literally called Black America. In 1895, the amusement park, set in Brooklyn out of all places, was looking to give its visitors a look back in time. Even more crazy, this was literally only 30 years after slavery would actually end in America. Now, over 100 cabins were built to form a village and house their black performers who traveled to cosplay as slaves. If that doesn't trigger you, maybe knowing that they would actually build a cotton field on the property too to solidify this plantation attraction, which then cost 25 cents per entry. As you can imagine, the park did get pushed back for those who saw how insensitive the whole idea was. But in response, Black America's owner, according to reports, would say, "It is a show for intelligent people rather than for the crowds who usually frequent open air and popular seaside resorts." Fast forward of just shy 100 years later, Disney decides maybe they can get away with a slave exhibit to entertain and educate. Upon looking for several articles, not much has been revealed about what their slave exhibit would have included at Disney's America. Were visitors going to be able to pick cotton, sleep in slave lodges, test out whips for prizes? Some opposers even speculated that little souvenir slave ships would be sold in the gift shop. If we look back on Wise's comments, one could speculate that a train ride on the Underground Railroad could have been expected. Now, outside of its slavery exhibit, Disney's America was trying to cover other parts of America's history too, including Native America, a recreation of Native American village with a Lewis and Clark themed River Rapids ride. Then you had President's Square, the home of the park's version of the Hall of Presidents attraction. Another would be Crossroads USA, the central hub of Disney's America, from which guests could enter other territories. Then you have Civil War Fort, a Civil War camp complete with reenactments and a nightly fireworks show on Freedom Bay featuring the battle between the Monitor and the Merrimack. Another part of the theme park would include Enterprise, a homage to the Industrial Revolution in the form of a factories company's town, complete with a roller coaster. Another would be We the People, a showcase building resembling Ellis Island with food vendors representing the countries of origin for immigrant groups. Also State Fair, a classic state fair with a wooden roller coaster, Ferris wheel, and baseball diamond for exhibition games. And Family Farm, a tribute to America's farms, with exhibits on harvesting crops and taking care of livestock. And lastly, Victory Field, a hangar with exhibits and rides celebrating American aircraft, including their role in World War II. Now, despite their claimed intention, the project faced much opposition, as you can imagine, from surrounding neighbors to those who feared how accurate Disney would be retelling America's history, and the concern of Disney passing out fantasy for history grew loud. The location itself was even an issue, as the park was located just 5 miles from Manassas National Battlefield Park, where hundreds of soldiers would lose their lives in the First and Second Battle of Bull Run. There even became concerns with calling the new attraction Disney's America, and in an attempt to alleviate concerns, they would rename the project Disney's American Celebration. A part of trying to silence historians who opposed the park, Disney would shift its focus from historical events to more so themes. And according to reports, a slavery exhibit would be one of the first things to go. We remain convinced that a park that celebrates America and exploration of our heritage is a great idea, and we will continue to work to make it a reality. However, we recognize that there are those who have been concerned about the possible impact of our park on historic sites in this unique area, and we have always tried to be sensitive to the issue. While we do not agree with all their concerns, we are seeking a new location so that we can move the process forward. In September of 1994, Disney would officially announce that they would move their American theme park to another location and would put hundreds of acres back up for sale. Now, despite its best efforts to stay the course, Disney would finally decide to retreat the project. In the end, the core reasons for Disney's America coming to an end appear to have came down to financial matters. In the years leading up to the theme park, Disney would end up losing $900 million from its Paris theme park. And it was later realized that their Disney's America would have to be closed for 4 months due to weather, meaning profits would have to be at a standstill. In the years to come, Disney still wanted to make sure that it can showcase its patriotism, and some of those concepts for Disney's America would find a home in some of their other locations, like the State Fair area and Victory Field, which would both be used at Disney's California Adventure. In conclusion of this report, we have to acknowledge how insensitive parts of America can be in pursuit of capital gain. Millions of slaves died and were exploited to feed a nation's early life. And without shame, some of their children would see those pains as family fun. Reporting for Hype Plus, I'm John Appa.